There's something undeniably powerful about intuition when it's sharpened by divine alignment. As a chosen one, your intuition isn't just a feeling, it's a spiritual GPS, a sacred radar that detects the unseen, the unspoken, and the hidden motives behind smiling faces and friendly gestures. You don't need proof to know what's real, you just know. That's what sets you apart. That's what they underestimated. When someone tries to test your intuition, it's because they either envy it or don't understand it. They poke at it like a child playing with fire, not realizing it burns through the lies and illusions they carry. At first, they might act subtle, dropping strange comments, shifting energy, presenting fake kindness. But you pick it up instantly. The vibration feels off. The words don't match the energy. The silence speaks louder than the noise. And before they know it, you're already seeing right through their little test. They thought they could manipulate, mislead, or provoke you into confusion. They thought they were clever, but instead they became the ones exposed. You weren't reacting in the way they expected. You didn't panic. You didn't fall for the trap. Instead, your calmness grew. Your silence became heavier. Your eyes told them everything they didn't want to hear. That's the thing about being spiritually anointed. When your intuition is aligned with divine wisdom, even your stillness speaks volumes. You're not driven by ego, you're guided by spirit. And when they looked into your eyes expecting to find someone easily fooled, what they found was someone who already saw the full picture. Ever since that moment, they've been uncomfortable. It's like they can't look at you the same. Something about your presence now makes them second. Guess their own thoughts. They feel watched, but not by you. It's the universe watching through you. It's the divine light in you reflecting back everything they tried to keep in the shadows. And the scariest part for them is realizing you never had to say a word. They tried to test your gift, but it only confirmed just how deep your insight runs. They replay the interaction in their mind. They notice how your facial expressions didn't match their expectations. They remember how you paused before responding, how you smiled as if you knew something they didn't. That's when fear set in. Because in their attempt to deceive or confuse you, they ended up revealing more about themselves than they ever intended. Being the chosen one means walking with a level of discernment that's uncomfortable for the world around you. People sense it. Even if they don't understand it, they feel it. That's why some are drawn to you while others are intimidated. Your energy is a mirror. It reflects truth. And for someone who lives in lies or manipulation, truth is terrifying. They try to hide behind sarcasm, jokes, or passive comments, but your spirit sees beyond the words. Your intuition interprets the energy behind the message, and when they tested it, it hit them instantly. You're not normal. You're not naive. You're not operating on a surface level. You're tapped into something higher, something they can't predict or control. They may have laughed when they tested you, but now they're silent. They're cautious, they move differently around you, they hesitate before speaking, they think twice before sending that message or making that comment, because now they know you're not one of them, you're chosen. You're protected, you're aware, and that awareness makes people nervous. Not because you expose them with your words, but because your energy exposes them without effort. That's what makes you powerful in silence. That's what makes your intuition a force they can't reckon with. You walk into rooms and shift the entire energy. You speak without speaking. You catch what others miss. And while some might admire that, others feel threatened. They wonder how you knew what you knew. They wonder how you stayed 2 steps ahead. They wonder how you stayed calm while they were trying to trigger you. It bothers them. It lingers in their minds. It keeps them replaying that moment of testing you. Because they weren't ready for the consequences. They didn't know that testing a chosen one's intuition is like trying to lie to the truth itself. It backfires, it stings, it exposes, and the truth is, they weren't ready to meet someone who couldn't be manipulated. Most people they interact with are easily fooled, but you're not most people. You've been refined by pain, molded through spiritual fire, and guided by divine purpose. That intuition didn't come from nowhere. It came from surviving betrayal, deception, and hardship. It was built in the dark when you had to rely on God and nothing else. So when they tried to play you, they ended up playing themselves. You didn't just sense their intentions, you felt their spirit. You read their silence, their fake smile, their energy shift, and even if you didn't say anything, they knew that you knew. Now every time they look at you, they wonder how much you've seen. They question whether they can ever truly hide anything from you. They're unsettled because you didn't react with anger or confrontation. You responded with awareness. That's what shook them. That's what made them nervous. Because the more they try to test your gift, the more they reveal who they truly are. The moment someone attempts to challenge your spiritual insight, they step into a realm they can't comprehend. You're not functioning on surface-level observation. You're operating with divine clarity. Your discernment isn't learned from books or borrowed from others. It's built through battles, silence, stillness, and spiritual intimacy with the Most High. That discernment pierces through intentions, tone, and energy. When someone tries to confuse or mislead you, it's not just a simple miscalculation on their part. It's a misjudgment of your identity. They mistake your humility for naivety. They confuse your silence for ignorance. But what they're really doing is stepping into a ring where they're not equipped to spar, because your wisdom doesn't come from logic. It comes from a source they can't manipulate. They start off playful, thinking they're being smart, dropping subtle lies, twisting truths, mixing flattery with insults, trying to throw you off center. But instead of you reacting the way they hoped, they notice your energy shift. You don't confront recklessly, but your eyes grow sharper. Your presence gets heavier, and in that silence, they begin to realize they've stirred something they weren't prepared for. They don't know what it is, but they feel it. Something ancient, something wise, something divinely rooted. That's when the unease sets in. That's when the laughter fades. They recognize your presence carries weight, and that weight has now turned toward them. You didn't need to raise your voice. You didn't need to explain. Just the way you looked at them, or the way you stayed silent, or the way you asked one simple question with deep intent, it shook them, it made them second, guess their plan, their motives, even their worth. Your spiritual insight is a gift forged through trials. It has protected you more times than you can count. So when someone attempts to toy with your mind or manipulate your understanding, they don't realize they're challenging divine intelligence. That's why the moment they test you, the energy changes. It's no longer just a conversation or a situation. It becomes a spiritual event. They can't explain the chills they feel. They can't explain why their words start stumbling. They can't explain why they suddenly feel exposed. It's because your spirit recognizes theirs before they even speak. And when their intentions don't align with their actions, your discernment kicks in like a divine alarm system. That's when you become still, not out of confusion, but out of observation. They tried to figure you out, but now they're the ones being studied. They thought they had control, but now they feel like they're being watched by something beyond human perception. They don't understand how you knew what you knew. They try to play it cool, but their nervousness is visible. They shift in their seat. They avoid your gaze. They change the subject. They suddenly need space. Because your discernment made them feel spiritually naked. They exposed themselves while trying to test you, and now they're left feeling shaken, not just by your perception, but by the reality that you're not like the others they've dealt with. You're chosen, and the weight of that truth unsettles them. They thought you would be easy to manipulate, but instead they encountered a mirror that reflected their real motives, their weaknesses, and their games. It's not just that you saw through them, it's that you felt them. You picked up on the spiritual dissonance they carried. You sensed the instability behind their smiles. You discerned the storm behind their calm voice. And when you didn't respond with drama or aggression, it threw them off, because your calmness felt like judgment. Your lack of reaction was louder than any argument. They can't forget that moment because it revealed their own vulnerability, and they weren't ready to face it. People don't realize that being spiritually sharp doesn't make you aggressive. It makes you aware. It makes you careful. It makes you peaceful, but in a way that feels unsettling to those carrying hidden darkness. That's why you intimidate them. That's why they keep trying to figure out how you knew. It's not just about what you know, it's about who you are. Your insight comes from connection to the source. You're not just intuitive, you're spiritually aligned. That alignment gives you access to information that can't be logically explained. That's why their games fail. That's why their tests fall flat. Because they're playing checkers while your spirit's already operating in dimensions they can't touch. They start overanalyzing every word they said. They wonder if they gave something away. They wonder if their face betrayed them. And the truth is, yes, it did. Their energy did. Their nervous laughter did. Their defensive tone did. Because when your spirit is clean, anything tainted stands out. You don't even have to try. The light in you naturally exposes what's dark in them. That exposure scares them. Not because you threaten them, but because they've never encountered someone whose presence alone reveals so much truth. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes them freaked out. They might try to avoid you after that. They might pretend everything's normal, but deep down they're cautious now. They don't know what you see. They don't know how much you know. They don't know how to defend against something that doesn't attack in the usual way. Because you don't fight with manipulation or ego. You stand in truth, and truth doesn't have to scream to be heard. It just is. That's what rattled them the most. That's why they've been unsettled ever since. Being a chosen one means walking in an energy so powerful that it disrupts the room before you even speak. You carry a presence that makes people confront things they've been hiding, even from themselves. Your spirit doesn't chase validation or attention, yet people can't ignore you. You show up and things shift, not because of arrogance but because of alignment. There's something about you that stirs the atmosphere. It's your light, your awareness, your calm confidence that feels like a mirror to others. When someone carries hidden guilt, lies, or wrong intentions, your presence brings it to the surface without a single word. That's why people sometimes act weird around you. They fumble, over-explain, change the subject, or avoid your eyes, not because of something you said, but because of what your energy exposed. You don't have to announce yourself. You don't have to argue. You simply are who you are, and that's enough to cause discomfort in those who aren't being real with themselves. You don't try to judge people, but your intuition naturally reads the space. You pick up on body language, voice tone, emotional shifts. You feel when something's off even if everyone else is fooled. And for the people who thought they could get away with pretending around you, that's a terrifying realization. They may laugh on the outside, but inside they're unsettled. They feel seen, not just externally, but spiritually. Your eyes see deeper. Your energy speaks louder than their words. That's what unnerves them. They start to wonder what you know. They question how you could tell. They thought they had you fooled, but you already saw the game before it started. You knew what their intentions were before they even finished their sentence. And that scares them, not because you're dangerous, but because they realize they can't manipulate you. Most people they meet are easy to lead astray with charm or small talk, but you don't fall for that. You listen with your soul, not just your ears. You discern with your spirit, not just your mind. That's what gives you an advantage they don't understand. It's not something you were taught. It's something you were born with, something that was refined through your journey. You've been through betrayal, pain, and moments where all you had was your spiritual instinct. So now it's razor sharp. You know what it feels like when someone's not being real. You can feel their anxiety before they open their mouth. You sense their envy behind their smile. You hear the insecurity behind their confidence, and you don't even try to expose them. It just happens. Your very presence triggers their conscience. You force people to either level up or retreat, and most of them retreat. They may not say it out loud, but inside they're shaken. They don't know how to exist around someone who operates on truth without effort. People might accuse you of being too intense or too quiet. But what they're really saying is they don't know how to handle your presence. You're not just a person, you're a spiritual signal. You carry the kind of energy that makes people examine themselves, and if they're not ready to do that, they'll act weird around you. They'll distance themselves, make excuses, or even turn on you. But deep down, it's not hate. It's fear. It's fear of being seen, fear of being exposed, fear of not being able to play the same roles they play around others. Because with you, masks don't work. Games don't last. Lies don't feel safe. When they tried to test you or deceive you, they were really testing their own limits. They didn't realize that by challenging your insight, they were inviting their own exposure. They thought they could play you, but they ended up playing themselves. They left the interaction more confused than before, wondering how you stayed so composed, how you knew so much, how you weren't fazed. That's the power of walking in spiritual alignment. You don't flinch when people show their true colors. You already saw the shades before they appeared, and when you didn't react the way they hoped, it forced them to face the reality that you're different. Not better, just different, not common, not easily fooled, not moved by surface energy. Now they carry that memory. It lingers in the back of their mind. They remember the look you gave, the pause in your response. The moment the vibe shifted, it made them think twice, and they still haven't forgotten it, because your presence doesn't just pass through. It leaves an imprint, a reminder that truth exists, that discernment is real. That some people can't be lied to, no matter how smooth the delivery, and you don't even walk around announcing your power. It's not loud, it's not showy, but it's real and it's felt. That's what unsettles people the most. The quiet strength, the silent knowing, the way you don't react, but you still reveal. That's what makes them nervous. That's what makes them cautious. That's what makes them rethink every interaction they've had with you. You see, being the chosen one isn't about ego or proving your worth. It's about walking in divine truth with humility, discernment, and strength that comes from your connection to the Most High. When others try to test your intuition, they're not just challenging your insight, they're confronting the power of spiritual clarity that lives within you. Your gift doesn't need validation. The evidence is in how people react when they encounter your energy. You were never meant to fit in or go unnoticed. You were built to reveal what others try to conceal. That's why your presence speaks louder than words, and why even silent moments with you feel intense. You don't force people to show their true colors. Your light simply makes it impossible for them to stay hidden. Stay grounded, stay obedient, stay aligned. Your discernment is not a curse, it's a weapon, a shield, and a divine radar guiding you through this world. Keep trusting your intuition, keep moving in silence, and remember, every time someone tries to test your spirit, they're only confirming just how chosen you really are. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Your time, your energy, and your presence here matter more than you know. I honor your path, your power, and your purpose. Until next time, stay strong, stay sharp, and never doubt what God has placed inside of you. Goodbye for now, and thank you from my soul to yours.